What's happening, everybody? My name is Mr. Info 5000. Today, the Biden administration wants to ban gas stoves. For who? For what? Why? The same reason they want to ban combustible engine vehicles for electric vehicles. This Green New Deal, although the Green New Deal didn't go through, their administration is not calling the ban on gas stove a ban. They're calling it regulatory. So they're going to regulate the use of gas stoves. And as a consequence of that action, they're going to be putting more pressure on our weak power grid that we have in this United States. And with the electric cars, California wants to ban the sale of all new gas vehicles, combustible engine vehicles, by like 2035. And they already have had rolling power outages to their electric grid in California. Now, electricity is freaking expensive. It is freaking expensive. I know it firsthand very well. It's a big chunk of my monthly budget. And then let's talk about gas stoves. Gas stoves, aesthetically, obviously they're much more efficient than electricity. And if you cook like I do on a normal basis, I probably cook every day. Not big meals too much anymore, but I do cook on a daily basis, and the food just tastes better with gas. Ask anybody that cook on a normal basis. Go to your local restaurant. Guarantee they got all gas stoves. To me, it's just dumb. It's too fast. Wind turbines don't really provide much power. What if it's not windy? They're not providing power. Solar doesn't provide too much power. What if it's not sunny? They're just doing something, in my opinion, because they're all elites and they're all rich, and they all own companies. They own shell companies. Their friends own shell companies. And you go to all this electricity, they will have to build the whole infrastructure for it to get rid of fossil fuels. Now, I'm not saying don't go all electric. Do it slowly. California trying to get rid of all combustible engines vehicles in 12 years. That is way too soon when you don't have the grid to support all these so-called electric vehicles. Oh, not to mention that all the chargers are powered by fossil fuels. So Representative Byron Donalds is questioning this person on the use or the conversion of gas stoves. And Byron Donalds is going to let him have it. Byron Donalds 2028, maybe as a VP. So check this video out.
Thank you, Chairman. First and foremost, I find it to just be highly disrespectful that the Department of Energy was asked to be here. They're not here. They don't want to answer questions about their own rule, which is going to impact the bottom line and the pocketbook of every American, especially those who own gas stoves currently. And, I just find that to just be ridiculous. They must be taking a cue from the president, who doesn't even want to answer questions, doesn't do press conferences, and just is nowhere to be found. I find that to just really be laughable, to be honest. Secondarily, this whole gas stoves thing makes no sense. Mr. Stein, I think you were saying in your testimony that roughly only 4% of the current product in the gas stoves market would actually even comply with the EPA's rule. So if you are a homeowner or even a renter and there are gas hookups into the kitchen, what are they supposed to do? Are they now supposed to retrofit their kitchen for an electrical outlet because it's not a normal outlet with electric stoves. It is a specially designed outlet for the electric stove in the kitchen. So I would ask the Department of Energy, if they were actually here, what do you expect the American people to do with respect to their kitchen? Are they gonna now retrofit their kitchen to allow for an electric hookup to go in there when the house wasn't designed for that? Mr. Delaski, what's the cost on that? Is that in your research?
The department has not proposed to ban gas
The
stoves.
department did not propose a ban of gas stoves, but the department is actually going to regulate the fact that most gas stoves on the market would no longer be able to be sold. They won't be allowed to be sold, only 4%. Do you agree with that, Mr. Delaski?
No, I've seen this movie before. Where
No, Mr. Delaski, this is not a movie, this is reality.
The claim
because
is that...
Mr. Delaski, this is reality. Because if you're going to tell, let me bring it to you this way. If you're going to tell my mom that she can't have a gas stove anymore and she can only buy an electric stove, but there's a gas hookup in the kitchen and now the kitchen has to be remodeled, and we were renters, we were not owners, which means the landlord had to go and redo that. Do you know what that's going to do to her livelihood? What happens if the landlord says, man, I got to go through these massive retrofits, I'm not paying for that? It falls on the back of the renter, which is what does happen. Does that sound like a movie to you? No, it doesn't. I'm not even asking you a question because this is ridiculous. This is not a movie. These are people's lives. And we have the Department of Energy who doesn't even have the guts, the courage to come in here and answer questions about their proposed rule. They'd rather hide in their building down the street than come in here and talk to the American people, talk to the people's representatives. I mean, we do have to fund the Department of Energy. That's coming up in a couple of months. If you can't even come in here and answer questions, why would we fund you? And that's serious. I'm not even joking around because this thing is stupid. For Black and brown communities, the cost of actually having to go out and buy a new appliance or to retrofit your kitchen is far more dangerous to your bottom line and to your pocketbook. I'm being honest, far more dangerous. I noticed in the ranking member's comments, she never once mentioned what it would cost a Black and brown family. She didn't talk about that. All she's talking about is the fact that the entire Green New Deal agenda may, and I stress may, cut 1/2 of a degree in the world's climate by 2050. And I stress may, because there was a representative from the Department of Energy in the Senate a few weeks ago, and he could not even answer the question that came from Senator Kennedy. He didn't know. He had no answer. He was like you, Mr. Delaski, just going back through this is not a movie or whatever the heck you're saying over there. This stuff is dumb. Listen, what we should be doing is a couple of things. Number one, making sure that there is actually cheap and readily affordable energy for our businesses and for our people, period, full stop. Two, this notion of chasing down the Green New Deal fantasy, which by the way, half the globe is ignoring. China is not doing this. Russia is not doing this. And the Europeans are backpedaling from this quickly because even the Europeans now understand that they can't live their Green New Deal dreams on gas that they were getting from Russia. They don't get to do that anymore. So now Europe is backpedaling. We need to get serious in the United States. And if we want to have an economy where everybody's got to be able to earn money in, and we want to have an energy grid that is sustainable, what we can't do are these crazy demands from the Department of Energy and from the EPA. Last thing I'll say is this. If we follow the president's dream and the other party's dream of electrifying every car and electrifying every stove, you know what we're gonna have? We're gonna have an electric grid with not enough energy to turn the lights on. Those are the facts. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Donovan.